National Electrical Code Section 384.24b3 addresses restrictions on installing raceways, cables, and conductors in gutters when the gutter is used for splices or taps. The general rule is that raceways, cables, and conductors should not be installed in gutters where the gutter is used for splices or taps. However, there are exceptions to this rule. The first exception is as provided in Section 110.34d. The second exception is for branch circuit extensions within dwelling units in accordance with Section 210.19d. Let's break down each part of this code section. Firstly, let's define a gutter in the context of electrical installations. A gutter, also known as a wireway, is a sheet metal or non-metallic trough used to protect and route electrical wires and cables. It provides a physical barrier against damage and helps organize conductors. Now, let's discuss the general rule. The NEC generally prohibits installing raceways, cables, and conductors in gutters that are also being used for splices or taps. This means that if a gutter is primarily serving as a junction point where conductors are joined together through splicing or where connections are made for taps to other circuits, then you generally cannot also run unrelated raceways, cables, or conductors through that same gutter. The primary reason for this restriction is to prevent overcrowding and ensure that the gutter remains accessible for maintenance and troubleshooting. Overcrowding can lead to overheating, difficulty in identifying and accessing conductors, and potential safety hazards. Now let's discuss the exceptions to the general rule. The first exception relates to Section 110.34d. Section 110.34 of the NEC covers workspace about electrical equipment operating at 600 volts, nominal or less. Section 110.34d specifically addresses the use of spaces above and below electrical equipment. It permits the routing of raceways, cables, and conductors through these spaces under certain conditions. If the installation complies with the requirements outlined in Section 110.34d, then the prohibition against running raceways, cables, and conductors through gutters used for splices or taps does not apply. To understand this exception, it is important to review Section 110.34d in detail. It specifies clearances, access requirements, and other conditions that must be met to ensure safety and accessibility. This exception generally applies to larger electrical installations where proper design and engineering have considered the routing of conductors and the accessibility of equipment. The second exception relates to branch circuit extensions within dwelling units in accordance with Section 210.19d. Section 210.19 of the NEC covers the ampacity of branch circuit conductors and provides specific rules for various types of circuits. Section 210.19d addresses branch circuit extensions in dwelling units. It allows for certain types of extensions under specific conditions. For example, it might permit extending a branch circuit from an existing outlet to add a new outlet nearby. If a branch circuit extension within a dwelling unit complies with the requirements of Section 210.19d, then the prohibition against running raceways, cables, and conductors through gutters used for splices or taps does not apply. This exception recognizes that minor extensions and modifications are common in residential settings and provides flexibility as long as safety requirements are met. For example, if you are extending a branch circuit within a dwelling unit to add a new receptacle, and you need to make a splice within a gutter to facilitate that extension, this exception might allow you to do so, provided that you comply with all other applicable requirements. It's important to note that even when these exceptions apply, all other applicable requirements of the NEC must still be followed. This includes ensuring proper conductor sizing, overcurrent protection, grounding, and workmanship. In summary, NEC Section 384.24b3 generally prohibits installing raceways, cables, and conductors in gutters where the gutter is used for splices or taps. However, there are two exceptions: firstly, as provided in Section 110.34d, and secondly, for branch circuit extensions within dwelling units in accordance with Section 210.19d. These exceptions provide flexibility in certain situations as long as all other applicable requirements of the NEC are met. It is crucial to understand these rules and exceptions to ensure safe and compliant electrical installations. Always consult the latest edition of the NEC and seek guidance from a qualified electrical inspector or engineer if you have any questions or concerns. Let's explore some examples to further illustrate the application of NEC section 384.24b3. Firstly, consider a commercial building where a large gutter is used as a junction point for multiple branch circuits feeding lighting fixtures. In this scenario, the general rule of section 384.24b3 would typically apply, prohibiting the installation of unrelated raceways or cables through the gutter. This is because the gutter is primarily serving as a junction point for splices and taps. Secondly, imagine a data center where numerous cables need to be routed to various equipment racks. The electrical design incorporates a large wireway to facilitate cable management. If the wireway is also used for making splices or taps to power distribution units, then the exception in section 110.34d might apply, allowing other cables to be routed through the wireway, provided that the requirements of section 110.34d are met. This might include maintaining adequate clearances and ensuring accessibility. Thirdly, consider a residential renovation project where a homeowner is extending a kitchen circuit to add a new outlet for a microwave. To facilitate this extension, a small section of gutter is installed to make a splice between the existing circuit conductors and the new conductors for the outlet. In this case, the exception in section 210.19d might apply, allowing the splice to be made within the gutter as long as all other requirements of section 210.19d are met, such as proper conductor sizing and overcurrent protection. It is essential to carefully evaluate each situation and consider the specific requirements of the NEC to determine whether an exception applies. Always consult with a qualified electrical professional if you are unsure about the proper application of the code. In addition to the examples discussed above, it is important to consider the practical implications of section 384.24b3 in various types of electrical installations. Firstly, in industrial facilities, where complex electrical systems are common, gutters are often used to manage and protect large numbers of conductors. The restrictions on splicing and tapping in gutters can impact the design and layout of these systems. Engineers and electricians must carefully plan the routing of conductors and the location of junction points to ensure compliance with the NEC. Secondly, in healthcare facilities, where electrical reliability is critical, the use of gutters must be carefully considered. The NEC imposes strict requirements for electrical systems in healthcare facilities, including redundant power sources and emergency power systems. The restrictions on splicing and tapping in gutters can affect the design of these systems and the ability to maintain power during outages. Thirdly, in educational institutions, where electrical safety is paramount, the use of gutters must be closely monitored. Schools and universities often have extensive electrical systems that serve classrooms, laboratories, and other facilities. The restrictions on splicing and tapping in gutters can impact the safety and reliability of these systems and the ability to protect students and staff from electrical hazards. It's important to note that the NEC is a comprehensive document that covers a wide range of electrical topics. Section 384.24b3 is just one small part of the code, and it must be considered in conjunction with all other applicable requirements. Always consult the latest edition of the NEC and seek guidance from a qualified electrical inspector or engineer if you have any questions or concerns. Furthermore, it's important to understand the potential consequences of violating section 384.24b3 of the NEC. Firstly, safety hazards. Improper splicing and tapping in gutters can create safety hazards such as overheating, arcing, and electrical shock. These hazards can lead to fires, injuries, and even fatalities. Secondly, code violations. Violating section 384.24b3 can result in code violations, which can lead to fines, penalties, and legal action. Electrical inspectors have the authority to enforce the NEC and can issue citations for non-compliance. Thirdly, insurance claims. If an electrical fire or accident occurs due to improper splicing or tapping in a gutter, insurance companies may deny claims for damages. Insurance policies typically require compliance with the NEC, and violations can void coverage. To avoid these consequences, it's essential to follow the NEC and ensure that all electrical work is performed by qualified professionals. Always obtain the necessary permits and inspections before starting any electrical project. Moreover, it is crucial to stay up to date with the latest revisions and interpretations of the NEC. The NEC is updated every 3 years, and changes are made to reflect new technologies, safety concerns, and industry best practices. Electrical professionals should attend training courses and seminars to stay informed about the latest code requirement. Additionally, it's important to consult with manufacturers of electrical equipment and materials to ensure that products are installed and used in accordance with their instructions. Manufacturers often provide technical support and guidance to help ensure compliance with the NEC. In conclusion, NEC Section 384.24b3 plays a critical role in ensuring the safety and reliability of electrical systems. By understanding the requirements of this section and following the guidelines outlined in the NEC, electrical professionals can help prevent accidents, injuries, and code violations. Always prioritize safety and consult with qualified experts when in doubt.